So it all started back when I was 6 years old. My entire career never seemed like it was going to be possible from when you're a little kid. My mom realized early on that I had some type of rhythm built in me as a little kid. It took pots and pans, I took sticks, drumsticks, chopsticks, whatever I could find around the house, and I just loved bashing on things. I was the annoying kid. I was bashing on things, I was loud, but personality-wise, I was super quiet. Where my music started is when I realized at 6 years old that I'm not only bashing on things, it has a rhythm to it. Early on, I think I started realizing that I loved rhythm and I loved being a drummer. And that's honestly where it really all started. So now you can see my whole entire family chain. It all started basically from my grandparents. My grandma was a singer. My grandpa played the bass, the guitar. He even could sing. And my mom was a singer. So it just went down the tree line, right? Singing seemed to be one of them, but when I started at 6 years old, my mom, because of her musical ear, got to hear that I had rhythm already at 6 years old when I was banging these pots and pans. And she got me a drum set right when I was turning 7 years old. And after that drum set is when I started playing and I started realizing that I'm starting to love what I do. And it all started at rhythm. She was my first early musical influence because I wanted to fit into the family. I wanted to play my musical part. I was gifted rhythm at an early age when I was a drummer, so I couldn't waste my opportunity and let that go to waste at all. That was my entire start to my whole childhood, and that's where I began. DJing wasn't even the question, neither was music producing. I thought I can only drum, so I went with it. I went through the whole thing. I was a drummer, I was annoying. In class, even when I came around to class, teachers were looking at me like, oh no, he's super shy, he's super quiet, he's an amazing student, he learns well. And there's always that but. You know, there's always that but at every parent-teacher conference that would go around, and that but was always that I was constantly pencil tapping. Every time, wherever I could find, I was just pencil tapping. And that's where my mom really was like, okay, yeah, he's gonna fit into the family just well. He's musically inclined. He's got drumming under the pocket. And that's where it all started. That was my early musical influence. So the moment that everything happened for me, that I decided to pursue this professionally, was when I actually started to learn how to DJ. It was always a guilty pleasure of mine. I always wanted to learn how to DJ. I just never knew how to do it. There was no such thing as TikTok. There was no such thing as YouTube videos, how to DJ 101. There was nothing of that. The guys that did it either out of pure heart that they wanted to know how to do it, and you sat there and you had to press buttons to figure out what they did, twist knobs to figure out what they did. I mean, I sat there with this board that I had that was missing knobs. It was my first board that I got, and it was given to me by a close family friend. And the board was missing knobs. It was an old one. It was like those iPods that had the big squares on it too that you plugged in. It wasn't even the new ones. So I had that plugged into a laptop, and I was mixing the same 2 songs over and over and over again. Until eventually, I mean, I thought I sounded great. It was fantastic, but I realized it wasn't actually that great. I was mixing the same damn 2 songs, so someone probably was losing it. I heard it over and over again, but I was stubborn. I wanted to learn how it was and how to mix it smoothly, and it was the same 2 songs. It was Intoxicated by Oliver Heldens, and then, Martin Solveig. Intoxicated by Martin Solveig. That was the first song that I started mixing into another one, which I even forgot at this point, but that was my point proven, and that was the moment I started to take it. I was like, I want to take this professionally, because drumming, it steamrolled out for me. I realized that it's not necessarily what I wanted to do. DJing is what I really wanted to do. And when I finally learned how to do it, mixing in and out 6 hours, 8 hours a day, over and over, the same 2 songs, eventually I got a hang of it. And that's when I decided to pursue it professionally. Now, in order for me to take things professionally, I knew I had to have some type of motivation behind it. It's not anywhere I'm saying when I was 16, 15 years old that I was anywhere close to a professional. No, not at all. But it's when I had the motivation that I wanted to do this thing. I mean, I started doing it when I started realizing that in 2 weeks' time, I learned pretty decently how to DJ, and I threw a straight party X at my house. 300 kids in a basement. When I mean I had them in a basement, it was the walls were dripping from sweat, from everything just coming off the walls. It was something that totally just looked bizarre. It was out of a movie scene, right? If you guys seen Project X, it's exactly what it was. And I only was DJing for 3 weeks until I did that party. And that's when I caught my motivation. I realized, I love this. I saw people smiling. I saw people jumping. I gave people a memory. Everyone after that party was always talking about it. Yo, do you guys remember that party? Oh, do you remember that party? And it was everywhere. It got shut down by the police because they saw it on the Snapchat maps that it was a red dot on the map. And all the Snap stories were rolling and everything was popping out. Kids were coming in from Loyola, DePaul, from city schools to make it to this one party. And I was DJing for 3 weeks at this time. This was when I realized I'm like, I might actually have some type of influence with doing this.
Put it on. 1, 2, 3, let's go!
That's the first moment everything turned for me. And it was from that moment on where I started doing party after party after party. The parties kept getting bigger. The names started getting out there. It was a moment I realized that, hey, we have some type of effect going on here. I did it with all my friends as well. Christos, Francesco, Vinny, George. They were all of the beginning, best friends at the time, and they all DJ'd as well. We were just back and forth with one another, like, hey, let's throw in this party. And then people started inviting us to their houses. I was like, wait, what are you talking? You want me at your house? I was like, there's no way that that's actually happening. They're like, yeah, no, we'll throw it in the basement. We did it at the basement. Now, there were some horror stories that came along, but it was just my entire memory. It was momentum that I kept rolling. It was really where my love for music started. Now, everything was great. I had this outburst where I got comfortable around people too. I was always this shy kid growing up. Never really had friends, never really talked to anybody. I was kind of behind the scenes my freshman year, my sophomore year of high school. Didn't really have anybody except for my one friend, Matt. He was really the only one really there at the beginning, my freshman, sophomore year, that held me to it. And everything was going great. These house parties started rolling out, and it was one after another. It started getting out there, and I started to get comfortable with myself. I started getting out there more comfortable, being able to talk to people, being able to talk to even adults. I was just becoming more comfortable in myself through music. Music is what stopped me from being the shy kid. But the most pivotal moment for me, it all changed when I got kicked out of my high school. End of my sophomore year was the summer transitioning to my junior year of high school. Now, kicked out, you're gonna think that I did something wrong. No, it was just I moved addresses and I got kicked out and I had to switch schools, but right in the middle of high school. I mean, it sucked. You have all of your friends, you have all your friend groups established already at this point. I thought, I'm not gonna make any friends. I was back to being this shy self. I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not gonna get out of it. So after everything that was great, these parties started rolling out and I started really pursuing it. I started getting this motivation for DJing, for music. And what I finally found myself doing, it all really changed for me at that moment, that pivotal moment where I had to switch schools. And when I switched schools, there was one person that believed in me from the very beginning. And it was the student activities director, David Morvek. He was a student activities director, so he organized all the homecomings. This is where I really believed already that everything happens in life for a reason. When I went to Conant, I actually got in trouble once for coming off of campus late back to school, because in Conant you have off campus where you go to lunches. I'd come back late by 2 minutes every time, and I got in trouble. And I was honest. I said, "Yeah, I'm at home. I'm producing new music. Messing around, DJing the entire time. It's really what I love to do." I'd go in the middle of my breaks to do it every single day. And he quickly realized, he's like, "Wait, you're the new kid that's DJing, right?" I was like, "Yeah, that's me. That was me the entire time." And from that moment on, he's like, "I have a special project for you. It'd be cool if you'd be a part of it." And I realized, I'm like, there's no way that's happening. I tried for so long with Lake Park, asking them, can I DJ your homecoming? Can I do your winter dance or anything of that nature, even a prom, because I was like in high school, it's something I was DJing, I wanted to do. I was doing all these high school parties, so I was super motivated by actually wanting to do this, right? From this moment on is where it all really changed and started to take off, because I started my career off in everything that became professional now the moment I started doing these homecomings. I told Dave, I'm like, trust me, I have a family company that does this for years now, and we'll be able to pull off something huge. So my 2020 year, when I was graduating, COVID year, before it even happened, obviously it was in the fall, I did my senior year, my school's homecoming, with my own production company. So it began. Started pushing boxes, cranking truss, setting up lights, and honestly, a lot of that was really only possible because my dad helped me through the beginning kind of grudge parts. It was the biggest risk I think I've taken to this day. Not even only that it was my school. I was the main DJ of homecoming, the biggest night really that you party and dance to in all of high school. And I put it all on the risk. Everyone always talks about homecoming. Let's be honest, this DJ was shit. This DJ didn't do this, right? Everyone has that in their mouths when you're in high school. For some reason, it was out of my mind. I realized that, you know what? This is what I love to do, and I took it all with heart. That's the moment that, by David Morvik believing me and doing such a big project like that where we got to pull it off, changed everything for me. My credibility went through the roof, and the homecoming was huge. Everyone showed up for it because they knew I was DJing. So the pressure was so high on me. The first 10 minutes, I'll be honest, I was so nervous. I had butterflies. I was hiding behind the DJ booth. I'm like, this is kind of scary. There's no way. The stage was huge. So we pulled off all the expectations, blew them out of the water. The moment of the night came. My heart's racing. But as soon as I played the first two songs, my love for music, right there and then, I realized that I was a performer. Because everything just went white for me. It's as if I was in and doing what I was here on this planet meant to do. My love for music carried everywhere. And I was able to leave everyone with one of the most probably memorable nights of homecoming from that night. And that changed everything for me, right there and then, that year. This is where the most challenging part of my career kind of took place. I think this is probably the most challenging part, as it was for so many people and whatever that they did. COVID came around. As a musical artist, DJ, we were hit with something that none of us knew what the outcome was gonna be. We thought, 2 weeks off of school, 2 weeks off of anything, and I'm sure even the guys that did it professionally in the city or at weddings and hall venues, anything public, we thought 2 weeks, we're going back to normal. It was 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5, 6. So I was like, starting to get weird. I'm like, what's gonna happen? I did everything right, you know? I did the beginning, the house parties, everything started growing. Then I started my own company with Adeous Productions, all at the beginning. You know, that's where everything happened. Right at the beginning of this sprout that happened where society just completely disconnected entirely. And I thought to myself, as weeks went on, and as this started to get predicted that it was going to be much longer than expected, there goes my hopes, right? My career. The motivation's out the window. The drive is completely gone. Everything is out of it, you know? So I tried. Live stream, DJing, you know, just trying to stay in it. I was practicing in my bedroom. That's all I was left with at this point. Did I know where my career was going to go after this? Absolutely not. Was that the biggest challenge I had to overcome? Yeah, because it took my motivation. It took everything out of me. Because when was I supposed to know that everything's going to come back? When was that supposed to be? That was it. It was done. My motivation was out the window. How was I supposed to come back? My company that I just started, only alive for 6 months. Do I even know that it comes back? All the time I invested into it, the money, it was gone from that moment. But I knew I had to hold on. So holding on, I did. I held on for a while with what was in here. Not what was in here, because I thought, and my thoughts were running. But what was in here, my love for music, the love for what I do to DJ, all that for what? Nothing. No, I wasn't gonna let that happen. Not a chance, no way. Now everything COVID-wise, right? We're all scared to start interacting, but eventually, as we all know, it started coming back. And I was like, is this the chance? Do I believe in this comeback? Is it gonna stay forever distant from one another? No. I was like, this is it. Adrian, you're coming back. You're gonna come back to do exactly what it is that you wanted to do. And you're gonna do it better than you've ever done it before, I promise. I said that to myself and I stood there, I'm like, you're gonna do it. You're gonna be able to. I know it sounds like cringy, like almost like you're gonna be able to do it, right? But nah. This I knew, I was like, you know what? I was ambitious growing up my entire life, and this was the moment that I knew it was the time to come back. So I did. I started playing at a sushi place. That was the comeback. I started playing at a sushi place. That sushi place was called Bok Choy. That was the first place that had that moment of belief in me as well. You know, I came back around and was like, I want to DJ, I want to play. And he wanted to have some type of venue that was, you know, cool and private to him. So it's exactly what I did. I was DJing at a sushi place. I had my people, my friends come out, my family, we're enjoying something where people naturally wanted to just get out of the house, right? Everyone had that moment. I'm done with it, right? Everyone wanted to get out, so what I did, I started playing and playing again. And the biggest part that moment now made for me was it was a little snowball that came out of that, and the ball just started rolling. Everyone started coming out. You know, my motivation's back. I'm starting to play. People are starting to enjoy it. I realized that I'm still good at what I do. My energy's still there. I was back. And then, one night is all it took. And one of my close friends now to this dearest day, who's my promotional manager, who's my bookings manager, who's my main manager for everything, Alex, came to one of these nights at the sushi place, heard me play, and he had a different motivation. He had a motivation to promote the city, to take over the city and to be a good promoter, and not only a good promoter, but he wanted to promote himself and to do what he really loved. And he wanted to go in with someone that could help him do that as well as help our friendship. And from that moment on, from him coming to this sushi place, he listened to what I played. And he noticed, damn, wait, hold on, this kid's actually pretty decent, you know? We're gonna go on and we're gonna take him out together. Comes up to me right after and asks, hey, you wanna go eventually play in the city? And it was my goal. I mean, every DJ's goal. You don't really wanna stay playing weddings and private parties. I mean, some people do, kudos, right? That's what you wanna do. But I wanted to be an artist. I wanna be a performer. That's when I realized right there, that was my biggest change. And me and Alex, from that point on, locked together like this. And the whole ride started to take off from that moment on. We started hitting the city. And playing at all the nightclubs, one by one by one. Determined, driven, focused. We saw one thing. COVID started letting off, and we're back. We're back now. As soon as we started hitting the city, me and Alex, when he started to re-promote Liquor Locker, because he also existed before COVID, but this was a different type of motivation. Me and him together started to want to take over, right? To start growing ourselves as people. So we did. It was right in the first moment when I walked into my first club. It was Rock Bar Chicago. That's why it was home base, baby. That's what we always called it. I'm sure the ones that are gonna be watching this that realize what Rock Bar was. It was home base. That's where everything happened. Rock Bar was the first place that believed in me as a DJ and to give me my chance. So they did. I played their basement level. It was kind of like their entry level for really kind of all DJs before they play the main room. Before that's like where they make, you know, their money. That's where they sell their tables. So this is like a side room, right? To test if I'm gonna be good enough. He was like, you have 30 minutes. And I realized, I'm like, I have 30 minutes for what? You have your USB, you can play on the main floor 30 minutes. was like, wait, holy cow, wait, I'm put on the spot once again, right? But I was like, Adrian, you've done this before, you got it, right? First 30 minutes, I run out of the club. I go, I grab my USB, I'm out of there, right? I grab my USB, I'm running back to the club. It's like, hey, I'm coming back in. Security at first, like, you just came out, why are you coming back in? And I'm like, I'm gonna play, I'm about to DJ, right? I didn't know what was going on at this point, but I did. 30 minutes on the main floor, I was caught off guard completely, but I'm like, these are the moments that you either make it or you break it. You make it, good for you. You don't cut for it. It's really what it is, it's true. I get up there in the first 10 minutes, I'm selling it completely. I sucked. I was in my head.
So bad, I was
nervous. It was so on the spot, it was so frequent. I'm like, holy cow, I'm selling it right now. This is not meant for me. And as I'm playing, the moment hits where I'm like, talking to myself in my ears. I close my eyes for like 30 seconds. Adrian, what are you doing? You suck right now. I was real with myself. You suck. This is what you waited for, and you're going to sell it this bad after all the things that you went through? No. Get up. Do it again. Be you, the performer that you are. You have it in heart. Play from here, not here again. So I did. Last 20 minutes set, played my heart out. Changed the mind right away. They at first said, yeah, he's not cut for it, maybe in the basement a couple times he'll play. But 20 minutes lastly of that set came around. I gave my heart and energy, and there was something to hold on to that, hey, hold on, this kid could have something, you know, that's good. And that was the moment that turned it around for me. It was one gig after another, after another. Started building my portfolio. After Rock Bar, made an Electric Hotel. After Electric Hotel, played at Soundbar. After Soundbar, played a couple smaller places, venues that were all around, right? That was the first start. That's where clubbing really started taking off. We were back. I was like, you know what, there's nothing stopping me now. One club after another gig. I was playing week in and week out at every single club that I tried getting into, I tried playing at, and it was great. Played all across the city, a couple clubs like Treehouse, Tunnel, Rock Bar, Electric Hotel, Soundbar, number 9 at Prism. So we started really rolling the ball here. And you know, I got my credibility, my portfolio built up, I got more experience. It was really, really awesome meeting all the DJs in Chicago. At first I thought, you know, all these guys might be competitive at first, because I was definitely the new kid on the block. Nobody really knew who I was. So it was kind of, you know, cold at first. But I loved meeting everyone. Everyone has such opening arms to meeting you, especially if, you know, you're starting to do good and you start becoming more of a frequent face. That's when I was really invited into the DJ scene with everyone else, and it was really eye-opening. I learned a lot from, you know, watching other DJs play. My number one kind of mentor was DJ Gordo in Chicago. There was a lot to learn off of him. He was kind of really the most respected, I think, DJ really in across the city. He did a lot for everyone, and he opened up his arms the most to me and gave me the chances that I got to be able to play across all the places that I do now. And the ball started really going from there. I started playing all the clubs, everything started going great. I'm in it, I love what I'm doing, this is what I wanted to work for. I made it to the city. But then I realized, I'm like, holy cow, wait, I have this production company too that I started, and I keep that ball rolling too. So as I'm doing this, I'm doing my production company, which is doing all the high school dances for homecomings, and that starts growing, that starts getting better. So I'm kind of just scaling the ladders at this point. I'm going up, here's the gigs this way. Homecoming season comes around, I'm playing gigs here. It just goes back and forth. The homecoming gigs start getting bigger. The tickets start selling out to them. It goes from 1,200 people to now over 2,000 at my home school, which was at Conan. That was crazy. Conan outside in a courtyard. I think that's not it. That was crazy.
If you guys are ready, let me see your hands up.
came off, popped off. Show after another, intro. I was nervous, backstage. Created them one hell of a festival experience. And I knew right there and then, after having this festival experience where I'm performing like an artist, I'm at the clubs playing with energy, people are starting to notice. It's like, kid, you have energy. And they start comparing me, you know? It's like, you look like Avicii, you're gonna be able to do what Avicii does. Now, Avicii was my highest successor, right? I always wanted to be like him, and Martin Garrix was another like super top idol for me to look up to. And to get compliments like that, I mean, I get awkward with compliments because I don't like, you know, taking compliments being like, oh, you know, thank you, but I love them because they reassure me that maybe I am on the right path, right? I want to make sure that everyone's around me is just having fun. Like, I loved it because everyone's smile was on their face. Everyone's creating a memory that there was to last. I get to do it for my company. I get to do it for clubbing. I was like, holy cow. Now, where is the next step? Where do I come from here? Music. Go back to what you started at. It was music. So I was like, you know what? It's time to start producing my own stuff. Every DJ plays a lot of remixes. You make your own cool remixes out of songs, but that next level only makes it when you're a music producer. So I knew it was time. I was like, Adrian, you're a drummer. You could learn new things. Start playing piano, right? Start knowing and learning music theory. Start playing around in Ableton, and that's the program that I started at. And take this whole career to a new level. So I started producing. Released a song called I Know. It was my first ever song. And it went pretty well for me. Like, I was pretty happy with that song, right? It was an achievement for me, it was everything, but everything started going from that point on. I got the motivation, I've got the club gigs, I got the production company, everything is starting to do it, right? I'm there, I'm almost there. But I feel like I hit that ceiling and I'm like, music is gonna be the next thing to take me away from here, and that's exactly what I decided to do. And that is my next career path. From this moment on, I knew what I needed to do, and that's to start releasing what music creativity is in here. And then take it on from there, as we please. When I started to produce, it was a lengthy process. I didn't know what I was doing. It's a whole different ballgame. DJing, right, I figured it out. Pressing now, I was pressing everything. I started to do it, right? I started DJ, I knew it, I learned it quick in 2 weeks. Producing, on the other hand, that's a different animal. Whole different animal, it's a whole different beast. But I wanted it badly. I wanted to show the world more what's in here. I wanted to be there, because I always love being there for everyone, to create an experience, to create smiles. That's why I do it. That's what I live for, right? Music and creating something that gives you emotion, right? That's my next step. That's where I wanted to be. So I started that. I had friends and mentors along the way that helped me, and people that were much more experienced in that industry than I was. And that's where my story ends, but it's where it continues. June 14th is gonna be that day where I start my next chapter to everything. It's the day that I decided that it's gonna be my next challenge, my next step forward. I'm graduating college at the same time. I work full-time, did school full-time, did music full-time, realized I can't do everything at once. And that step for me to finally take, that I achieved all that without being even full-time in music, June 14th marks the day that I'm releasing my next song that I made with Masha, Never Last, which was supposed to come out a little bit ago now, over a year. Finally came out that I felt it was right to make it this day. And there's gonna be nothing now that gets in the way of me releasing music nonstop for you guys. Performing at the highest level that I've had all of my career. June 14th marks that day where that song releases, and on top of that, it's the start to my whole career. So if you are from the beginning and you supported me, friends, family, anyone that was there, for me the most, through this whole storyline that I want to give for you guys to finally see, maybe catch some motivation from, maybe see how I did my story, I ask for you to support on this one day, my start to my next chapter. One that I will never forget is this date, for sure. For myself, for my friends, and for my family that's around. This is my next chapter. This is the next chapter that Adeous, the name I made for myself in a graphics design class, is gonna make the next level step. If I make it, whatever I consider making it is at that point, I'll be forever happy. And if I don't, well, I know at least I tried everything that was in here. But this one's gonna be for you guys, because that's what brings me the most joy in doing what I do. And that's June 14th. Yeah.